Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Confessions of a Gaming Mum. I apologise if I ramble more than what I normally do today, and if I seem like I'm just not with it, I apologise. But yeah, this week has been a long one because Bubs has decided he doesn't like sleep. So we've not been getting a lot of sleep during the week. Obviously I think it's affecting my husband more than me in terms of he has to get up for work at 6 o'clock in the morning. Although last night I got kicked out of bed by Bubs because obviously he came in with us because he just would not settle in his room, because now he's in his own room now. And I got kicked out of bed and had to spend a couple of hours on the sofa, so I am absolutely wrecked today and trying to function on fumes and coffee and sugar where I can. So yeah, bear with me because I'm quite struggling. Yeah, we're not sure why he's started like this, because obviously he's been in his room now for at least 2 weeks. And he seemed fine at first. Yeah, he woke up a couple of times. Obviously when he woke up in a room where we weren't there, he would cry for us, but obviously we'd settle him down and he'd be fine. But last week I should say, or this week, I'm so tired. But yeah, the last week just gone, he's just not been settling at all when we try to put him back down after he's woken up. So we don't know if he's teething, or if he's going through a growth spurt, if there's like a leap at this age. He's like 15 months now, so yeah, we're just not sure whatsoever. It could be like a mixture of all three, we don't know. But yeah, anyway, that's a long-winded explanation as to why I probably look and sound and am acting so tired, because I am very tired. But yeah, on a more positive note, I thought I'd just give an update in terms of where we are with Veganuary, because obviously in my last video I said that we were planning to do Veganuary. We've done a week and a half, so almost 10 days of Veganuary. Haven't slipped at all, which I think is pretty good. Or if we have slipped, we haven't realised. If we've had something that's not vegan, then I'd be surprised, because we've been quite observant in terms of what we're actually eating. We've been doing pretty well on it actually, in terms of not really missing meat at all, or I think it's more us missing other animal products like dairy and cheese and eggs and things like that. That's more what we've been missing, rather than actual meat in our food. I think I said in the last video about the fact that we'd kind of weaned ourselves off of milk in our tea and our coffee, because we've been having soy for quite a while now. We only really had meat. If we had meat, we'd just have it for our main meal in the day, because we'd have cereal or toast, or I'd have toast or cereal in the morning. My husband took eggs to work, like some boiled eggs to work, and I'd have like cheese on toast for lunch. So yes, it was always just like our main meal where we'd have meat or whatever. So but we sometimes had like vegetarian or vegan options. So it's not been too much of a stretch, but it's still that whole thing of trying to be more creative and more imaginative in terms of what we can actually eat, rather than obviously like your meat and 2 veg that is like the sort of staple of most meals. So I tried to do a video last weekend, which was after our first grocery shop, like full week grocery shop for Veganuary, and my brain was so fried because when it comes, I'm one of those people, I'm just such a stickler for routine, and because I basically had to change most of my grocery list for the week, my brain was absolutely fried, and afterwards I just could not function for the rest of the day. I was gone. So yeah, that video has been scrapped, and now I'm doing one today on about 4 hours sleep. So yeah, I'm doing well, aren't I? I'm not jinxed at all when it comes to trying to get these bloody videos out. But yeah, so it's just trying to find different recipes that, because I don't want for us to just be relying on meat substitutes all the time. I want us to be trying more natural things, so eating like more veg, or like beans and pulses instead of meat and things like that, rather than just having processed stuff all the time, like fake chicken or fake sausages and things like that. I'd rather try and just have more individual ingredients, so to speak. So yeah, that was quite difficult, but it was kind of a success in terms of the things that we chose. One of the things we chose was well, I was going to do a 5-bean chili, but again, like I said, because my brain was so fried in terms of trying to remember everything, because I'm a bit of an idiot and don't write things down when I go shopping, I wanted to do a 5-bean chili, but in the end it ended up being a 3-bean chili, because I forgot to get 2 of the other beans, because I also got beans for another recipe to try, and I just got it all muddled up. But that was really nice. I just basically did the recipe that I have, like a regular chili con carne with beef, but instead obviously of beef, took the beef out and put the more beans in, and it was actually really nice. What I'm actually going to try this week though, because it I can't explain it, but there was something with the flavour. It didn't have, it felt like it didn't have a lot of depth. Don't really know how to explain it, but obviously in the recipe that I have with meat, we put chocolate in to make it a bit more creamier. So I think that might be why the new recipe, like the vegan version, didn't taste as full on. So I'm hoping what we've bought a bar of Nomo chocolate, which is vegan chocolate for those who don't know. So we bought, a bar of Nomo chocolate, so we're going to put that in and see if it makes any difference, because all I put in this time to replace the chocolate was sugar. So but obviously it doesn't include like the creaminess or whatever of chocolate. So we'll try that this week and see if that makes any difference. Hopefully that'll help, and then we basically have a replacement. Because what I would like to do, I think since doing this week of Veganuary, again my mindset has changed pretty much, or not like completely, in terms of I still don't see us going completely vegan after this month, but I can see us changing a lot of the recipes that we did have before that had meat in with plant substitutes. So if this chili is to work, and because before I made it was like a staple for the week, because I love chili con carne. So and Bubs loves it as well. He wolfs it down. He's really good with spices, considering his dad doesn't do spices at all. So yeah, so if this is successful, then I won't go back to using meat. For one thing, it's cheaper to use beans, and another thing, obviously it's healthier, and also it's saving a cow pretty much. So yeah, so I want to try and replace meat as much as possible in our diet. So yeah, so I'm hoping that using vegan chocolate will work. Another thing we tried, which wasn't as successful, but again it might be one of those ones that we have as like a one-off every so often, because it was really nice, but I think there was just some things I had to change. So it's something, I think it's called ribollito or rubbalato, I can't remember, but it's from, I got the idea from it from the guys who do Bosch. I don't know if people know them from outside of the UK, but Bosch is basically these 2 guys. They're both vegan, and they have a series of cookbooks that are out, and I actually bought one of their cookbooks out of some Christmas money that I got, and I've been going for it. And some of their stuff I'm a bit apprehensive of trying, because I think they use like a lot of mushroom as like meat substitutes, and even though I like mushroom, I don't like it as like the main part of a meal. I like to have it with things, like the texture just can be a bit much for me, and the taste sometimes can be a bit much, so I'm a bit apprehensive of trying a lot of their stuff at the moment. Although I went out shopping with my mum yesterday and saw their new book, which is I think The Healthy Vegan, I think it's called, and a lot of the recipes in there look like stuff I'd actually really like to try, because they weren't all like mushroom based, so to speak. But anyway, going back to this recipe that we tried, this was on their YouTube channel, which doesn't seem to be as popular as their books are, but they still have some really good stuff on there. And yeah, I found this recipe, and Ribollito, or whatever it's called, I'll put the name up, is basically a Tuscan stew. It was like a peasant stew, and it was just something they'd just throw all the veg that they had or whatever, and tomatoes and some spices and herbs and things, and they just have it on the hob, and then they just reheat it whenever they were going to eat, and they just chuck some ciabatta, because ciabatta is a vegan bread, because some bread isn't vegan. You have to be quite careful, but ciabatta is always vegan because it's made with olive oil, so instead of butter. And they tear up the ciabatta to put in it, and that counts as the dumplings. Its base is tomato, you've got onion, carrot, celery, and they use an Italian cabbage. I can never remember the name, but it's something like Crevallo Nero or something. And I love cabbage, I'm a massive fan of cabbage. So for me, when I saw that, I was like, yes, I am up for that. And it has cannellini beans in it as well to sort of bring out some more stodge. And like I said, you have the ciabatta bread for dumplings. And we tried it and it was okay, but I think because I did it sort of last thing of a night, so I only left it to simmer for half an hour, so not everything was cooked through. So like the onions, the carrots and celery still had a crunch to them, and I'm really fussy on my textures when it comes to veg, and if I'm gonna have a stew, the veg in it needs to be soft, so I don't actually register it pretty much. There was that. There was also because you one of the two of the herbs that you use is thyme and sage, and the thyme I've got because we have a herb garden in our back garden, so so I have pretty much all the herbs out there. But because it's winter, the thyme's gone a bit twiggy, and so we were like picking twigs out of our teeth and picking them out of the stew and everything. So yeah, that kind of put me off as well, because I didn't actually think that I could actually, again, sleep deprivation this week, pull the flowers off, like just run them, like the twigs off and put the leaves in the stew. Didn't think to actually do that, so I know for next time. And you couldn't really taste the spice, I think, because it was quite a watery stew, the amount of chilli I actually put in there, because when my husband's quite fussy when it comes to the amount of spice, I didn't put a lot of chilli in there, and I just think it got watered down, so it didn't really have much of a kick. So yeah, so that's 3 things that I need to remember next time I do it. 1, don't put the thyme twigs in there. 2, put it on in the morning or something, put it in the slow cooker. It definitely needs to be slow cooked for a couple of hours for the vegetables to go softer, and also add more chilli. But other than that, it was okay. So it's not as if I'm going to be like, no, I'm never doing it again. It was just at that point in time I was not feeling it. What else was there? Oh, we also tried, when we got our full vegan weekly shop, again, because my brain was so fried, I couldn't think of like enough meals to get us through the week, so I was like, sod it, we'll just buy a ready meal. And we bought a lentil hot pot, because again, something that I've never really cooked with. I've never really cooked with lentils, and lentils seem to be quite a popular replacement if you use like minced beef. So like in shepherd's pie and spaghetti bolognese, you can use lentils a lot. And again, because I haven't used them, I'm a bit apprehensive of using them in case I didn't like it or it just didn't work out well. So I thought I'll try the lentil hot pot and just think of lentils as a main part of a dish, so to speak. And it was absolutely delicious. I was just blown away by how tasty it was, and it could almost have been that there was actually meat in there, because there was just so much flavour in there. Obviously you still had the texture from the lentils, but again, that texture didn't bother me so much. But yeah, there was just so much flavour, and I was really, really impressed with it. So I've actually got a few recipes that I want to try next week, where I'm going to use lentils as the base for the meal. So I'm going to try spaghetti bolognese, which is obviously that tends to be quite a popular one for lentils. But there's also like a curry that my dad used to do that I was absolutely obsessed with, where it's literally just onions, minced beef, potatoes and peas, and you just like put a shit ton of spices in there, and you just eat it with some flatbread, and it's absolutely amazing. And I used to love that so much, so I'm going to see if I can make that with lentils. If I can, then done, that's another regular we're having every week, because it's just so nice and it's so easy to cook. So yeah, so I think we're actually doing quite well. I was really happy and relieved when I found out that our favourite donut shop, Dum Dums, has done a vegan donut for the week, because I know they do like vegan cookies and vegan brownies and stuff, but just nothing compares to their donuts. And yeah, they've actually changed one of their donuts to be vegan, so it's interesting because that donut normally has like a cream in it, but they've changed it to jam. Obviously a bit of a lazy way of getting around the whole veganism, no dairy thing in there, but it's still a really nice donut. Like, it doesn't, because I mean, I've heard a lot of people say with vegan donuts they tend to be a lot denser, so it doesn't really feel like it's a donut, but you wouldn't tell the difference with these ones. But I think that's because with Dum Dums they bake their donuts, they don't fry them, so they're a little bit healthier. You still have a shit ton of sugar in them, but yeah, you wouldn't notice any difference other than the fact there was jam in it rather than cream. So I was very happy about that. I'm trying to think of what else we've had this week in terms of, today was the first time we actually had vegan bacon. I've never had it before and I've always been quite cynical about it. Again, I'm a bit, I wouldn't say like cynical when it comes to meat replacements. I just don't want to use them as much because sometimes they can be quite a bit disappointing. Because I'm trying to think, like, I don't really like vegan burgers. I think a lot of the time I'm just really disappointed with them. But then I'm not really a big fan of beef burgers anyway. It's not something I normally would really choose when I go out to a restaurant. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, we tried vegan bacon today because, again, at our favourite restaurant that we like to go to, we went there for breakfast today and they did a vegan bacon butty. So we thought we'd try it, put some brown sauce in there, and yeah, it was lovely. It didn't taste like bacon, it tasted like, what did my husband call it? Pastrami. So it was like a smoky, look more like, yeah, just like a smoky ham rather than bacon, but it was still really nice and you get quite a lot of it, and yeah, it was lovely. And they had some these mini hash browns, like almost like croquettes, and they were lovely. And like, if anyone knows me, they'll know how obsessed I am with hash browns. They're like my absolute favourite thing when it comes to like having a full English breakfast. As long as I have hash browns, I'm happy. So so yeah, the fact that hash browns tend to be vegan is like probably another reason why I'm good with this. Because the local supermarket that we shop at, Morrison's, they've actually, I don't know if it's just for Veganuary or if they've actually brought it in as a permanent thing, but they've actually got a vegan breakfast in, which is, what do they have in there? They had these sausages, plant-based sausages, which are amazing. And I've been desperately trying to find out what the sausage, like, if they're their own brand or if they're like corn sausages or whatever, but they are lovely. I really, really like them, so I want to get some so we can have like a sausage sandwich on a Saturday morning. So they were nice. Yeah, so you get those sausages with it, you get toast, beans and hash browns, and I was like, that's me, I'm happy. I mean, I do love a bit of scrambled egg, and that's something I still need to try with tofu, because apparently you can make quite good scrambled tofu as a replacement for scrambled egg, but because I'm such a lover of scrambled egg, I think I would notice quite a bit of a difference. So I still haven't tried it yet. I'm still a bit about it, because I can't remember if I said this in the, oh well, I wouldn't have said it in the last video because I don't think we'd tried it yet, but for my husband for breakfast to go to work, because obviously we were trying to think of something that he could have that would fill him up like the eggs did, that were just convenient. Like, he could literally just pick them out of his like as soon as he got into work, take them out of his lunchbox and just eat them, and he wouldn't have to heat them up, because obviously he doesn't have a toaster at work. I think literally he has a microwave to heat things up with. So it's trying to find something that's vegan that he could conveniently have at work, because we're obviously trying to budget, so he can't be buying breakfast every morning at work. And I found a recipe for spinach frittatas using tofu as the replacement for egg. So we've been doing that for, well, we did it for a couple of days, obviously at the beginning of the year, because he went into work on the Thursday and the Friday, so we only had 2 days, and then we did it for the full week, the week just gone. And it is quite a massive faff to make them, but once it's, obviously you do it once and then that's it for the week. And he seems to like them, but I don't think it's a very convincing alternative to what he had before. So I think if we can find something that's less of a faff, more convenient and cheap, that would replace his boiled eggs by the end of the month, then I think we'll be good. But yeah, it's just a matter of trying to find something, because I mean, he loves crumpets and crumpets are vegan, but again, he doesn't have a toaster at work, so we can't take them. So it's just trying to find something that he can just, like I said, open his packed lunch and it's there. And I mean, I already do him sandwiches for his lunch, so it's not as if like I'm not going to do them like a breakfast sandwich and then a lunch sandwich. It's just one of those things where we're still feeling our way through it. I think we're doing quite well in terms of like the substitutes that we've found, and I think it's been pretty eye-opening in terms of how little we actually miss meat. I think if anything, it's just the convenience of meat that's the thing that we're seeing. And like I said, with my husband's eggs in the morning and things like that. In terms of like eating out and takeaway and stuff, I haven't, because normally we have like an Indian or a Chinese at the weekend, and we haven't been able to do that because I'm a bit apprehensive in terms of what I would actually eat from the takeaway that would actually be vegan, and whether or not it was truly vegan. So yes, so what it's more been like, we've been more eating out on the days that we'd have takeaway, and then for dinner we just have like at lunch we'd eat out, and then for lunch or for dinner we'd have a vegan sandwich or something, because luckily Marks and Spencer's are doing some really nice vegan sandwiches at the moment. I've tried their no turkey feast, I think it is. So it's like fake roast turkey with cranberry and spinach, I think it was, and that was really, really nice, and like a sage and onion sort of mixture, so it's meant to be like sage and onion stuffing. That was lovely. I tried their no tuna and sweet corn sandwich yesterday, and I was a bit disappointed because I was expecting more of a fishy taste, but it was basically like what you got in the no turkey feast mashed up like it, so it looked like tuna. And because I'm not a massive fan of sweet corn, I think that was predominantly what I could taste, so I was a bit like I was a bit disappointed about that one because I was really looking forward to trying it. But yeah, that was that. What else? I'm trying to think while I'm this tired. Oh, well, since starting Veganuary, I've lost 2.5 pounds. I was hoping for a bit more because that first 2 pounds was in the first 3 days of doing veganism, but I have a feeling that was just from basically starving myself of sugar and all the crap that we've been eating over Christmas, and my body was just getting rid of it all. So in the last week I've only lost like ½ pound. So I was a bit disappointed when I weighed myself this morning to find that. I haven't really noticed that I feel healthier. I think I feel better in myself in terms of the fact that I'm not eating meat, so I don't feel so, not sickly. It's not like every time I eat meat I feel sick after eating it, but I feel satisfied, and that's it. Like I don't feel like I don't feel sick, I don't feel bloated or anything like that. And with my husband, I know when he like runs up the stairs to get the train home from work in the evening, he doesn't feel so out of breath anymore. I think he's like me, he hasn't lost like loads of weight so far, but he just feels better in himself at the moment. Like I said, I haven't really noticed anything as much. I think because this week we've been really struggling on lack of sleep from Bubs, it's really difficult for us to really gauge how we're feeling. Like I said, today I'm just absolutely hanging. So I'm surprised I'm even able to make string sentences together for this video. What else? I'm trying to think. I don't think there's been any major updates in the last 9 days since I did a video. This is how exciting my life is. Nothing changes. Still no job. I'm still applying though. I'm not giving up hope. I did forget to mention as well, I remembered that the other day, I forgot to mention in my last video about what one of my resolutions were for the new year, and that was to sort out my friggin' stomach, because it still looks like I'm 6 months pregnant. I'm sort of like 50% blaming it on myself and not being motivated enough to try and sort it out, but it's also 50% on the physiotherapist for the fact that he wasn't exactly helpful when it came to showing me how to do the exercises properly. So when he said, oh, this is how you do it, and then I showed him and he was like, yeah, that's great. And at the time I kind of had that feeling that he was kind of like just ushering me, like just sort of hurrying me along to get me out the door sort of thing. But now I know that definitely was the case, because I wasn't doing the exercises right, but he was telling me I was. He was like, yeah, that's correct, that's fine. So yeah, I don't really appreciate that, the fact that like my son is nearly 1.5 years and I still look like I'm 6 months pregnant. It's really frustrating, and it really see, I'm just so tired I can't even think of the words. Well, I don't feel great I'll put it that way. I don't feel like I don't like the way I look, so to speak. I know I should be more, I probably should be kinder to myself with the fact that I'm still technically a new mum and I should be putting my baby first. I mean, I do put my baby first. I'd still like to feel more like me rather than just the mum of Bubs. But anyway, I'm not going to drag the conversation down. Like I said, it's just the whole general gist is I need to get my shit together, which means part of that is sorting out my stomach so I don't look 6 months pregnant. It'll still be a saggy, horrible, raisin looking mess, but at least I'll be able to wear my clothes and not look like I need to be offered a seat on the bus or the train. So I'll end the video there. I know, I'm sorry that there's not a lot of it's not exactly rich in content in my tired state. I'm just trying to be as informative as I can in terms of how we feel about, or how we're getting on with Veganuary and stuff. But like I said, because it's the beginning of the year, there's not really a lot going on in my life right now until I can get that job and I can get finances in order and I can get myself a new laptop and stuff, so then I can get my gaming underway and things like that. Nothing's really going to be happening. I've got a few ideas for other videos, but I think at the moment, while we're doing Veganuary, I think that's going to be predominantly what the subject's going to be for these videos. So sorry if you're not really interested. But I'm not getting a lot of views anyway at the moment, so I don't think anyone really cares. But yeah, for those few that are still watching, I hope you like the video. If you do, give it a like, share with your friends if you think they'd be interested. Also subscribe if you haven't already. Become a patron on Patreon if you really like my I was gonna say again, I'm so tired. Oh. Yeah, so become a patron on Patreon if you really like my yeah, so become a patron on Patreon if you really enjoy the stuff that I post. Here's hoping. But yeah, you can also follow us on social media. I've now got a Facebook page for this YouTube channel. I used to have one for called Bubs Life, like the Instagram, but I also used to have a Facebook page for it. It's still going, but I don't post on there anymore. It's just really difficult to keep it updated, especially because I've got one for gaming, one for babies, and yeah, it just gets a bit much. So I thought at least if I have one for this channel, then I can keep gaming and babies all together, and then people can just like what they want to like. They can like the gaming side, they can like the mum side. It keeps it all together, and it's just one less bit of hassle that I have to worry about in my life right now. So yeah, if you haven't liked that page, then like that as well, because I post a few things on there. Other than that, I really can't think of anything else to say, so thank you guys for watching, and I shall see you all in the next video.